Are you feeling overwhelmed by the obstacles in your life? Like no matter how hard you try, you can't seem to get ahead? It's a feeling many of us can relate to, being stuck in a loop where it feels like the universe is throwing one challenge after another. But here's the thing: what if I told you that these struggles might not be as negative as they seem? In fact, what if I told you that not having many friends could be an indicator that you're actually on the path to something greater? I know, it might sound a bit strange, but stay with me. In a world that constantly tells us that we need to be surrounded by people, that we need to fit in with the crowd to be validated, the idea of not having many friends can feel like a heavy burden. It might even make you feel isolated or like there's something wrong with you. But what if this lack of friends is actually pointing to a deeper truth about who you are, what you're capable of, and where you're headed? This script is for anyone who feels stuck or disconnected, especially those who may be facing personal or professional challenges. You might be thinking, is this really for me? I'm here to tell you, it absolutely is. In the next hour or so, we'll dive deep into how a lack of friends may be the signal of something important that's going on in your life. We'll break down why this is happening, what you can do to turn things around, and how you can empower yourself to make it a stepping stone to a more fulfilling life. And let me tell you, the solutions are within your grasp. I'll take you through the understanding of the problem and the impact it can have, and together, we'll turn it into something empowering. I'll walk you through practical steps that you can implement in your life. And by the end of this, you'll not only see the value of being alone, but how it can help you get closer to the person you're meant to be. Let's start by understanding the problem. Why does a lack of friends feel so painful? Why does it seem like, no matter how hard we try, we just can't build the connections we crave? The first thing to understand is that we live in a society that values external validation. From social media to social gatherings, we're constantly bombarded with messages that we need to be surrounded by people to be happy or successful. The more friends we have, the more liked we are, the more fulfilled we should feel. But the reality is very different. If you're feeling isolated, like you can't find your tribe, or that you're out of sync with the people around you, it's important to first acknowledge that you're not alone in this. In fact, you may be one of many who are going through the same thing. It's easy to assume that there's something wrong with us, that maybe we're unlikable or too different. But that's just a limiting belief, a story we tell ourselves because we're looking for validation from outside sources. But what's happening when you don't have many friends is that you might be in the process of outgrowing old habits, toxic relationships, or even outdated versions of yourself. This isn't the end of your social life or success. It could actually be the beginning of something much more powerful. The consequences of not addressing this disconnect can be detrimental in various ways. Emotionally, you might start feeling like an outsider, like no matter how much you try to fit in, you never quite belong. This can lead to loneliness, anxiety, and even depression if left unchecked. Socially, the lack of meaningful relationships can make you feel like you're missing out on life's deeper connections. You might even feel like you're not moving forward because you don't have the support you need to succeed. But here's where it gets empowering. Acknowledging that a lack of friends doesn't necessarily mean something is wrong with you. It could actually be a sign that you're evolving and stepping into a new chapter of your life. I know it feels isolating right now, but this is actually a moment of growth. You're beginning to separate yourself from the noise, from people who no longer align with your values or goals. You're learning to rely more on yourself, and that's something to be proud of. Now, let's talk about shifting your mindset. The first step in overcoming this challenge is to stop seeing a lack of friends as a failure. Instead, Reframe it as an opportunity for self-discovery. What if this time alone is giving you space to reconnect with your core self? What if it's allowing you to build the foundation for a life that's not dependent on external validation but on your own inner strength? This mindset shift is the key to moving forward with confidence. You don't need to measure your worth by the number of friends you have. Instead, focus on the quality of your relationships, the depth of your self-awareness, and the strength of your personal growth. The next step is to take action. Here's how you can start turning this situation around. Start with self-reflection. Take time each day to understand what you really want out of your relationships. Are you seeking true connection? Or are you simply looking for people to fill a void? What values do you want to align with when you do form friendships? These aren't just questions for your social life. They are questions that can transform your entire outlook on life. The next step is to prioritize self-care. When you're not constantly seeking validation from others, you create room for personal growth. Dive into hobbies or interests that bring you joy. Work on building new skills, and focus on being the best version of yourself, regardless of whether you have a big circle of friends. Then, start building meaningful connections, not based on quantity but on the quality of the people you choose to invest in. Rather than focusing on the number of friends, focus on developing relationships with people who understand, respect, and support your personal journey. Let me share a story of someone who was in a similar situation. Sarah, a young professional, found herself in a career-driven world where she felt completely disconnected from her peers. While everyone else seemed to have tight-knit groups of friends, Sarah struggled to find her place. Instead of wallowing in self-doubt, she took the opportunity to work on herself. She started volunteering for causes she cared about, reading books that expanded her horizons, and slowly but surely, she attracted a group of people who shared her values. It wasn't about having a massive social circle. It was about finding people who mattered. Today, Sarah is not only thriving in her career, but also in her relationships because she stopped searching for approval and started focusing on creating genuine connections. So, what are the obstacles you might face as you implement these changes? One common challenge is fear. Fear of loneliness, fear of rejection, and fear of being misunderstood. These fears are natural, but they don't have to control you. The key is to remind yourself that fear is simply a sign that you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and growth never happens in the comfort zone. Another challenge is doubt. Doubting whether the changes you're making will actually pay off. Doubting whether you're doing the right thing. To this, I say, trust the process. You're planting seeds for a future that may not be visible yet, but that doesn't mean it's not growing. Keep nurturing yourself, keep investing in your growth, and you'll start to see the fruits of your labor. Let's take a look at how this shift has worked for others. John, for instance, was an introvert who struggled with making lasting friendships. He felt disconnected and wondered if something was wrong with him. But over time, he embraced his individuality, and instead of forcing himself into social circles that didn't feel right, he honed his personal growth. By focusing on his career and hobbies, he started to meet like-minded individuals who appreciated him for who he was, not for who he was pretending to be. These stories are not just stories, they are proof that with the right mindset and consistent action, change is possible. You too can rewrite your narrative and start attracting the people and experiences that truly serve you. As you move forward, it's important to keep your momentum going. Celebrate the small wins. Whether it's making one new connection or simply feeling more comfortable with yourself, acknowledge the progress you've made. Remember, this journey is ongoing. Growth doesn't happen overnight, and there will be times when it feels like progress is slow. But consistency is key. As you continue to evolve and improve, keep refining your goals, keep learning, and keep prioritizing yourself. Finally, avoid burnout. You don't have to do everything at once. Focus on balance. Nurture your emotional health. Take time for relaxation, and give yourself the permission to take breaks when needed. This isn't about sprinting toward success. It's about building a sustainable path that leads to long-term happiness and fulfillment. Let's break it down, taking a deep breath. The opening line, "Now, take a deep breath," invites the reader to pause, to reflect, and to calm their mind. It is a subtle cue for the reader to release tension, both physical and emotional, allowing them to absorb the words that follow with mindfulness and clarity. Letting things sink in, let all the things I've shared sink in, encourages the reader to absorb not only the advice given, but also the deeper understanding that they are embarking on a journey of growth. The idea here is that growth takes time to internalize. The reader is invited to reflect on their current situation without rushing to change or fix anything, giving themselves permission to simply be where they are. Affirmation of validity and importance. Know that the journey you're on is not only valid but incredibly important, speaks to the intrinsic worth of every person's personal path. It recognizes that no matter where one is in life, it is a meaningful journey. Everyone's journey is unique, and its importance is not diminished by the presence or absence of others along the way. The idea is that even in solitude, the steps you take toward self-discovery, healing, and growth matter deeply. Reframing the absence of friendships. A lack of friends is not a reflection of your worth, is a powerful statement. It breaks down the misconception that having no friends, or struggling to form friendships, is somehow a reflection of your value as a person. Society often ties our self-worth to the number of friends or social interactions we have. But this message challenges that view. The text reminds the reader that being without friendships does not mean they are unworthy or unlovable. An invitation for self-development. The phrase, "It's a powerful invitation to become the best version of yourself," reframes the experience of loneliness or social isolation as an opportunity. Instead of viewing it as something negative or painful, it is presented as a chance to focus on personal growth. This could mean delving deeper into one's passions, refining skills, cultivating self-love, and discovering what truly brings fulfillment in life. The journey is about becoming who you are meant to be, and sometimes solitude is the fertile ground where this transformation can take place. The path to meaningful relationships. Finally, and as you walk this path, you'll find that the relationships you do form will be deep, meaningful, and truly life-changing, offers hope and promise. It suggests that although you might be on your own now, the relationships that will eventually come into your life will be more authentic and impactful because they are built on a foundation of self-awareness, emotional growth, and personal strength. These will not be superficial friendships, but profound connections that add real value to your life. Commit to one small action today. It might be a simple shift in mindset or taking a step towards self-care. Whatever it is, know that you're moving in the right direction. You are in control, and your success starts now. Your future self will thank you.